Loneliness, a feeling everyone has experienced. But why are there some people who seem immune to it? Their secret doesn't lie in having more friends, but in embracing a different life philosophy. The Stoics, such as Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, believe that loneliness doesn't stem from a lack of people, but from a disconnection with oneself. In this video, you'll discover 4 Stoic principles to help you overcome loneliness forever. From self-sufficiency, independent thinking, to the art of controlling your mind. Watch until the end, because what you're about to learn could change the way you view yourself and life permanently. If you find this content helpful, please subscribe to the channel and like the video to motivate me to create more new videos. Loneliness doesn't truly arise from being alone. It often comes from feeling disconnected from your own essence. Many fear solitude because it forces them to confront their own thoughts and inner void. But why can some people remain in silence and still feel at peace? Epictetus once said, "If you feel lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company." The Stoics believed that if you can't find peace within your own mind, no one else can fill that void for you. They didn't deny the value of relationships, but emphasized that completeness must come from within. You must be your own source of fulfillment, not dependent on others for your sense of wholeness. Take Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor. He spent years on distant battlefields, far from family, friends, and the comforts of the palace. Yet, his writings and meditations never reflect loneliness or a craving for attention. Instead, he drew strength from his inner dialogue, finding completeness in his own reflections and acceptance of reality, rather than seeking validation from others. So how can you cultivate this state of self-sufficiency? The Stoics practiced stillness. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes each day to sit quietly. No social media, no distractions. Face yourself in complete silence. Don't run from your thoughts. Observe them as they arise without judgment. When you can accept all your thoughts without fear, inner peace will naturally emerge. Another powerful exercise is philosophical journaling, something both Seneca and Marcus Aurelius practiced daily. Write down your thoughts, anxieties, and self-doubts. Ask yourself, what truly makes me feel empty? Is this feeling real or just a story I've created in my mind? You'll often realize that most loneliness is a mental construct, not an objective reality. Self-sufficiency also means letting go of the need for external validation. In today's world, where social media glorifies attention and likes, it's easy to feel empty when external feedback is absent. But the Stoics remind us, your worth doesn't lie in others' approval, but in the nature of your actions. A practical way to test this: ask yourself, if no one saw what I was doing, would I still do it? When you stop seeking validation and focus on intrinsic values, you'll feel stronger and more whole. Self-sufficiency doesn't mean isolating yourself or cutting off relationships. It means being able to feel content, peaceful, and complete even when alone. It's the power of inner independence, the ability to find meaning within yourself instead of relying on external factors beyond your control. Remember, cultivating self-sufficiency is not a destination, but a process. Each day, practice moments of stillness, face yourself, and resist the urge for external validation. When you do, loneliness will slowly become a foreign concept. Let's build a community of kindness by subscribing to Stoicism for Success right now and sharing it with those you wish to see live with kindness and strength like us. Let's spread these positive values together. One of the root causes of loneliness is excessive dependence on others' opinions and approval. We crave recognition, a sense of belonging to a group, and when this need goes unmet, loneliness arises. But the Stoics taught that true freedom comes when you take control of your own mind. Seneca once wrote, "The crowd often leads us astray. Independent thinking is an art that must be cultivated." Modern society is filled with noise. From social media and news to peer pressure, countless voices can easily drown out your own principles and values. When you focus too much on others' opinions, you're handing them control over your emotions and self-worth. The Stoics believed that to overcome loneliness, you must learn to think independently, to question, reflect, and seek answers on your own, rather than letting the crowd decide for you. Marcus Aurelius was a prime example of independent thinking. As an emperor, he never let the flattery of the court influence his decisions. In Meditations, he frequently reminded himself of the fleeting nature of fame and external praise. He wrote, "Do not waste time thinking about what others do, think, or say. Instead, turn inward and ask yourself, does this align with my principles?" How to cultivate independent thinking in modern life. Develop the habit of questioning. When you hear an opinion or information, don't accept it blindly. Instead, ask yourself, is this really true? Does it align with my principles and values? Stay true to your core values. If you believe in a principle or way of life, don't abandon it just to avoid criticism or gain approval. The Stoics emphasize that integrity is not defined by the majority. Epictetus once said, "Do what is right, even if you stand alone." Distance yourself from negative influences. The crowd often seeks short-term satisfaction, chasing trends and judging others based on superficial standards. Independent thinkers, however, resist being swept up in emotional waves. They filter information, question assumptions, and stay grounded in their principles. However, independent thinking doesn't mean rejecting all external feedback. The Stoics weren't extreme. They listened, but maintained a mental distance to avoid being manipulated or absorbed by those opinions. When you take control of your thoughts, you no longer need external validation to feel whole. Confidence grows from your decisions, principles, and the path you're walking. Loneliness fades because you're no longer lost within your own mind. Independent thinking isn't an inborn trait, but a skill to be cultivated daily. From resisting the need for constant approval to questioning assumptions and staying true to your values. When you master your mind, you won't just overcome loneliness. You'll become stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. One of the greatest paradoxes of loneliness is, the more you focus on yourself, the more disconnected you feel. The Stoics understood that life's meaning doesn't lie solely in self-improvement, but also in contributing to others. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "We are born not just for ourselves, but to serve the community." Loneliness largely stems from losing a sense of meaningful connection with the world. But instead of seeking relationships just to fill emotional voids, the Stoics chose a different approach. They gave. They believed that serving others not only adds value to the community, but also becomes a pathway out of isolation. Service here doesn't have to mean grand actions like humanitarian aid or dedicating your life to a noble cause. Sometimes it's as simple as listening to a friend going through a tough time, helping a colleague without seeking recognition, simply being kind and sincere to those around you. The important principle the Stoics emphasize is, give without expecting anything in return. The essence of service is not about receiving praise or recognition. When you genuinely help others simply to create positive value, you are connecting with the world in its deepest form, a meaningful, unconditional connection. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a powerful emperor, viewed serving his people as his highest duty. He once wrote in Meditations, "What we do for others defines our nature as humans. If done sincerely, no praise is required." Let's come together to support our community. If you are a kind person, please hit the like button on this video and leave some energetic comments to spread positive vibes. Together, we can make a difference. How to practice this in modern life. First, focus on small actions. Don't think you need to do something grand to make a difference. Sometimes, a simple and sincere question like, "Are you okay?" can change someone's entire day. Second, practice compassion without judgment. Don't only help when you feel the other person deserves it or when it benefits you. The Stoics teach that service is a natural duty, not dependent on whether the other person appreciates it or not. Third, find meaning in your everyday work. Whether you're a teacher, doctor, office worker, or laborer, every action you take can contribute value to others. Service isn't limited to charitable acts, but lies in how you approach your daily responsibilities with kindness and integrity. The interesting truth is, when you give without expecting anything in return, you'll receive something far greater than praise, a genuine sense of connection with people and life itself. This bond transcends superficial relationships, giving you the profound realization that your existence contributes positively to the world. and that is what will dissolve loneliness. When you live to give, to serve, without seeking approval, you will never truly be alone. The feeling of loneliness largely doesn't stem from external circumstances, but from how you interpret them. It is your thoughts, not the absence of people, that create loneliness. The Stoics understood this deeply. While you cannot control the external world, you can completely master your reaction to it. This is the essence of mastering the mind. Epictetus once said, "It is not events that disturb you, but your interpretation of them." This means you can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Or you can be completely alone, yet find peace and connection within. So, what truly determines this experience? The answer lies in controlling your mind. Loneliness is not merely a situational state, but a narrative your mind constructs. When you allow yourself to be consumed by thoughts like, "No one understands me," or "I have no one," you're letting negative emotions take control. The Stoics taught that you must detach yourself from these subjective interpretations. How to train your mind for control. Step 1. Recognize that emotions aren't absolute truths. When you feel lonely, ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Am I truly isolated, or is this just a passing sensation? Questioning your thoughts creates mental distance, helping you view emotions more objectively. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind. Remove negative thoughts, and you remove suffering." Step 2. Differentiate what you can and cannot control. Epictetus called this the foundation of Stoicism. You cannot control what others think of you, who leaves you, or external events. You can control how you respond to these situations. For example, if a close friend drifts away or you feel misunderstood, the event itself doesn't create pain. Your interpretation does. If you think, "This means I'm not good enough," it will hurt. But if you say, "Their departure is beyond my control, but I can control how I continue living with peace," you regain inner strength. Step 3. Remind yourself of life's impermanence. Loneliness, like all emotions, is temporary. Feelings rise and fall like waves. When you understand their transient nature, you become less controlled by them. Step 4. Confront reality, not mental stories. Often, loneliness is amplified by excessive time spent comparing yourself to the idealized lives on social media. But you're only seeing a filtered version of reality, not the truth. Practical exercises for mastering the mind. Rational journaling. When feeling lonely, write down your thoughts. Then analyze, how much of this is fact? How much is just my interpretation? Silent reflection. Sit quietly for 10 to 15 minutes daily, observing your thoughts without judgment. Daily Stoic affirmations. Each morning, remind yourself, what can I control today? What is beyond my control? When you master your mind, no circumstance can define you. Loneliness is merely a mental narrative, and you have the power to rewrite it. Loneliness doesn't arise from circumstances or the absence of people. It stems from how you interpret those situations. The Stoics revealed that the true power to overcome loneliness lies not in the external world, but within yourself. Self-sufficiency reminds you that your worth is not tied to the presence or validation of others. When you know and accept yourself fully, emptiness fades. Independent thinking frees you from the crowd's influence, empowering you to discover your own truth and voice. Serving others transforms loneliness into connection. Giving, without seeking anything in return, creates the deepest human bonds. Mastering your mind is the foundation. When you learn to observe and redirect your thoughts, you realize that loneliness is nothing more than an illusion. Peace, wholeness, and connection have always been within your reach. The question isn't whether you can escape loneliness. It's whether you're courageous enough to face it and turn it into strength. Master yourself, and you will never truly be alone. Thank you for watching this video. Let's support our wonderful community by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications right now. Show everyone that you're living kindly by liking the video and sharing your experiences in the comments. Take action now to spread positive energy.